Hello YouTube, this is AugustusLarch. I know I'm not as well groomed or as pretty as the canon of vloggers that I follow on YouTube, but my substance is the whole reason, and the message are the reasons why I make these vlogs. And one thing I want to touch upon is Project Monarch. If you've never heard of Project Monarch, hurry up and wiki it. I'm not going to wait until you do, I'm going to keep going. But Project Monarch, it derives from, well, World War II. It was an engineered event. I mean, certain powers choose to modernize certain people's militaries at a, many years in advance. There was many published volumes of how the big Pacific War and the Worldwide War and the Mechanized War, there was a big build-up before it actually happened. But the whole thing about it, the results of it, is that they gave the people, especially in Germany, they pretty much had these people tend to be pretty clever, very good at what they do, anything they choose to do. But when they get a budget like that, with the kind of mission they were going after, especially, they did all kinds of studies, rocketry, jet aircraft, and psychology. And this is what I'm touching upon mostly, is the psychological process of what they did, mostly security reasons, through chemicals, diethylamides, and other such botanicals, engineered in a lab and tested on human subjects that nobody was ever going to keep track of ever again. So they got a big budget and as many people as they want to experiment on as they could ever want, and they did. They studied psychology and applied it to, there was a results-oriented philosophy at play the whole time, and they were good, and they kept good records, and they all still exist, and they are in use. That's the big kicker of this story. In 1945, there was a little thing called Operation Paperclip, and the Americans got the jump on it. And it was a race between the Americans, the British, and the Soviets. And they all went in there and sent elite forward teams in to capture as many of the key scientists of all the different fields. And of scientists, the Russians got the better jet engine people and rocket people, as history supports. But the Americans got the psychological and the political people on Operation Paperclip, and the people they got were paper clipped, which is a little bit of esoteric reference for all the viewers out there. So they paper clipped people, and especially those people that engineered a security measure within their high-level operatives. Otherwise, you get somebody with so much knowledge and they go rogue and you lose control of them and they need to be liquidated, and there you lost them. They're the well-trained, very skilled personnel. That some stuff you really can't teach, really. But, oh, we have to liquidate you. They wanted to avoid all that, so they engineered something called MK Ultra, which is the CIA name for it. And it's with diethylamides, and what they do is they fracked off a portion of the brain that they use for programming that's got control of all the bodily and mental functions, but it's separated through trauma and drug-induced shock and other such nefarious things, so they can get somebody who's monarch, who's a monarch subject, and if they're successful, they come up to be a monarch operative. Usually there's monarch agents too, but I don't know much about that. But the whole thing about a monarch operative is, say you've got a elite team, that like a strike team or a capture team, surveillance team, reconnaissance, stuff like that, and they have a lot of knowledge and they're good at what they do. But wouldn't it be, if there's a security measure, if they ever get captured, then there's a there's a break in the security. If they go crazy and start blabbing crazy, there's a break in security. If they get, you know, a lot of things, they can get captured, they can get turned against the people that train them. But with Monarch, man, that person, it's got that extra security measure there, don't know what's going on. Once they get that cue to turn off their programming, they're dried up as a source, and really they can be totally not connected with anybody directing them. It's very, and usually those people they get taken prisoner, they don't know what to do with them, they see them, they don't really fit with anything that they're looking for, so they just forget about them, and they can either get captured by their directors again, or they can turn on the programming, they can be sent a directive to escape. You know, it's not so hard. All they got to do is they can send out a publication or a radio broadcast, and all of a sudden they get that cue, and the programming starts up again, or in a whole different mission. And then if something happens, a trauma event, it automatically they lose everything again. They're safe again. They're back to a secure level. Isn't that a very functional thing to have in a military organization? A whole cadre of people that really don't know they're operatives, but they're really good at what they do. And they're pretty safe and durable on a mental and physical scope, because nobody's looking for that. They don't even think about that, except for now. I can assume that the gentlemen in the black Suburbans will show up any moment now. No, that probably won't happen. But just consider what's going on in this country. America got most of the psychological mad geniuses from Germany, and they've been passing down their knowledge through the generations. So you take a look at advertising, the electric dragon of television, print, all electronic media, print media. It's all gauged to cultivate a certain population, and they're using that psychology. And the world's being subjugated still. We're still living in a Nazi regime. They just had to move. The Nazis didn't lose, they just had to move. Anyway, you should look up Project Monarch. This is AugustusLarch. Thank you for bearing with me.